Namaste, guys. Welcome to Mystery Vault. There's fierce competition in this world. Linda worked hard at her desk every single day. She put in endless hours. No one noticed her dedication. No one appreciated her routine, silence, cold coffee, and the constant feeling that she was invisible. That was her daily reality. One day she helped her co-worker Donovan with a very tricky task that he couldn't handle himself. Linda dealt with it efficiently. She showed real commitment. She thought her effort would finally get recognized, but the crucial moment came during a top-level official meeting. Donovan deliberately left Linda out. He presented all the documents she had painstakingly created, under his own name. He didn't mention Linda's contribution even once, and that wasn't even the worst part. During breaks, Linda would casually try to start conversations with colleagues, hoping to build some friendships. But her coworkers treated her like she was invisible. They ignored her, avoided talking to her, acted as if Linda didn't even exist. Slowly, she became a complete stranger inside the office. Isolation became her new normal. Humiliation became her constant companion. Peeking from outside the meeting room, Linda's worst fear was confirmed. Donovan was presenting the work as if he had done it all himself. He had carefully erased Linda's name from everything and taken all the credit. The cold, hostile office felt miles away from Linda's real life. In her apartment, there were photos, maps, and mementos from past outdoor expeditions and adventure trips. Clearly, she had a passion for exploration and adventure. Those memories were the complete opposite of her monotonous present. She had no friends to share experiences with. She talked to her parents about her office frustrations. At night, she watched survival shows. TV became both her escape and her only source of comfort. The next day, a new boss arrived, Bradley. A tiny spark of hope ignited in Linda. She happily gave her introduction, carefully choosing her words to make a good impression. But the meeting turned into a disaster. Bradley turned out to be an obsessive germaphobe. He noticed a tiny piece of food on Linda's face and immediately walked away, showing clear discomfort and rejection. Linda genuinely thought the presentation went well, but Bradley had already labeled her as unpleasant and unpresentable. He judged her coldly. Even experienced employees like Franklin told him that Linda had played a key role in the company's success under the previous boss. Bradley wasn't impressed. He didn't care about her track record, achievements that any other boss would have celebrated. Bradley simply ignored. Bradley's father had even promised Linda promotion and recognition for her loyalty and performance, but Bradley completely disregarded it. Bradley had his own plan. He gave the promotion to Donovan and told Franklin to move Linda's desk to a dark, almost invisible corner of the office. Linda's expectations shattered. Bradley was very clear. The company would collapse without Donovan. His plan was to exploit Linda's talent while giving her zero recognition, keeping her hidden in the background. Later, Linda clearly saw the favoritism between Donovan and Bradley. A co-worker revealed that Donovan had become vice president. The truth came out. Donovan and Bradley had been college friends. The promotion wasn't based on merit or effort. It was pure favoritism, a quiet pact that reeked of corruption. Hearing this, Linda stormed into Bradley's office without asking. Her voice was trembling but firm as she confronted him. She asked, after 7 years of loyalty, personal sacrifices, and silent hard work, why had he systematically ignored her? It was unbearable for her that Donovan, who had only been in the company for 6 months and had zero relevant experience, had taken the job that should have been hers. Bradley showed zero empathy and replied coldly, "You don't have what it takes to be an executive." He reduced years of her hard work to a personal opinion. According to Bradley, the company needed a man with natural charisma. Someone who could light up the room when he walked in, close deals with a convincing smile, qualities he claimed he never saw in Linda. Humiliated and defeated, Linda was on the verge of tears when Bradley gave her one last desperate chance. He said, "If you can pull off the major merger in Bangkok, I'll reconsider the promotion." The goal seemed almost impossible, but Bradley's cruelty had no limits. As he left with his fiancée Jury, he made venomous comments about Linda's messy appearance, stiff posture, and supposed body odor. Every word made it clear. He had never respected her and saw her only as a temporary resource. Despite the pain and humiliation, Linda gathered her courage in her car. She sat there for many minutes, taking deep breaths, wiping her tears, convincing herself she could still change her fate. She decided this trip would be her last chance to prove her worth. The next day at the airport, Linda showed up as a different person. She tried to be more social, smiled more, acted outgoing, trying to fit into the world that had always rejected her. Still, Bradley ignored her completely, behaving as if she didn't exist. Bradley, Donovan, and Linda boarded the plane to Bangkok. Linda worked tirelessly on the presentation, double-checking numbers, tweaking charts, perfecting every detail. Then Donovan found her personal video, an old audition tape for a survival show she had recorded. Instead of respecting her privacy, both Bradley and Donovan started mocking her, making cruel comments and laughing at her. Linda watched them ridicule her again. Something inside her broke. In a moment of hopelessness, she deleted the presentation file, convinced that nothing mattered anymore. Suddenly, extreme turbulence violently shook the plane. Linda immediately fastened her seatbelt. She sensed something terrible was coming, then disaster struck. Part of the plane tore off mid-flight. Chaos, screams, and brutal decompression followed. Donovan got sucked toward the open air. Instinctively, Linda tried to save him. But Donovan tried to strangle her to take her safer spot. In a pure act of survival, Linda kicked him away. Donovan flew out of the plane. The aircraft crashed into the ocean. Fighting rising water and floating debris, Linda reached the surface. She clung to a piece of wreckage all night, battling exhaustion and fear. When she woke up, she was drenched, injured, and disoriented, washed up on the sand of a dense, deserted island. While exploring, she found Bradley unconscious. With a serious head injury and a fractured leg, he was completely vulnerable. Now he would have to depend entirely on Linda. The roles had completely reversed. All the knowledge Linda had collected from survival shows, once dismissed as a quirky hobby, finally came to life. No one in the office could have imagined it. Using branches, leaves, and plain wreckage, Linda built a makeshift shelter. She created a system to collect rainwater. That night, during torrential rain and violent winds, Linda fought relentlessly against nature to keep Bradley alive. Covering him, monitoring his wounds, preventing shock, she barely slept herself. By morning, when the storm ended and the jungle grew quiet, Bradley regained consciousness. Over days and weeks, he drank water from the systems Linda built. When he realized they were the only two survivors, he awkwardly said thank you for saving his life the first time he set his ego aside. Meanwhile, Linda struggled to start a fire. After many attempts, it finally caught. Instead of fear, she felt an unexpected thrill. Like she was living her favorite survival show in real life, but with real consequences. She handled every detail: fire, water, shelter. Her useless boss watched. Now, a dependent spectator against nature. Linda tried to feed him a fish she caught and cooked herself. Bradley acted like a spoiled child, refusing to eat, complaining about the smell and texture. Linda shoved a bite into his mouth and ordered him to chew. In that moment, it was crystal clear. She was now fully in control. Days passed. Bradley's true nature resurfaced. He started panicking, constantly asking when they would be rescued. Linda said she didn't know. But first, they needed to locate the crash site and check for other survivors. She speculated they were somewhere in the Gulf of Thailand, surrounded by small islands. Despite being injured and completely dependent, Bradley started giving orders again, demanding rescue signals or a GPS device. Linda coldly reminded him, "If I weren't here, you'd already be dead." Bradley tried to move and hurt himself worse. When Linda went to help, seeing her former boss beg for mercy pushed her over the edge. She gathered her essential supplies and left him at the camp. At first, Bradley kept his authoritative stance, convinced she would come back. But as night fell, reality hit. Wind whistled him through the trees. Darkness swallowed him. Fear slowly took over. His chest tightened. In the end, he screamed Linda's name into the shadows, a desperate act showing his vulnerability. Soon, a new storm hit the island and destroyed the makeshift shelter Bradley had tried to build. It left him completely defenseless. This made him realize, on this island, his corporate titles, hierarchy, and ego meant nothing. The next day, Linda returned with a renewed attitude. Her steps were firm, her gaze steady. She made it clear. "We're not in the office anymore. The rules have changed." Casually, she mentioned she had tracked a wild boar, signaling she was thinking long-term, treating survival as strategy, not improvisation. Bradley was shocked. He never imagined meek, predictable accountant Linda hunting dangerous animals. He couldn't reconcile this determination with the image in his head. Linda quietly told him, "I'm from the strategy and planning department." She made it clear he had never tried to understand her background or skills. Later, Linda carefully studied every rustle of branches and leaves. She followed the boar's tracks. She moved with caution, anticipating its movements, applying instinct and logic equally. When the wild boar charged violently, Linda's heart pounded. But she reacted just in time, climbing a nearby tree. From above, she cornered it. After a fierce struggle, she came down and, after more fighting, killed it with a sharpened branch she had prepared. Her hands and clothes were soaked in blood. She returned to camp covered in mud, sweat, and blood. There was a new fire in her eyes. The confidence she once showed in the office was nothing compared to this. That night, the man who was used to five-star restaurants and carefully prepared meals ate half-cooked boar meat, while Linda openly laughed at the situation, enjoying the contrast between his previous luxury life and the current reality. Linda had completely transformed. From invisible employee to a true force of nature, every gesture radiated self-assurance. When she said she enjoyed watching him eat raw boar, Bradley, defeated yet oddly excited, laughed along. The jungle had finally leveled the playing field, and he knew it. The next day, Linda went out to gather food and found a hidden waterfall. She washed the dried blood off her body. It felt amazing. In the distance, she spotted a rescue boat crossing the horizon. She was about to shout, but she didn't. After a few seconds of hesitation, she stayed silent and watched the boat slowly disappear. Then she returned to Bradley without saying a word. She gave him fresh waterfall water. When Bradley asked what happened, she said nothing about the boat. Bradley told her it had been over 2 weeks. He was going crazy. Linda tried to calm him, telling him to stay positive. Then Bradley said he would build a raft himself and escape alone. Linda let him try, neither helping nor interfering. Bradley still clung to his ego, reminding her, "You know who I am, CEO of an elite company." Linda didn't stay quiet. She said directly, "This company isn't the result of your talent. It's an empire your father built." In anger, Bradley shouted, "Your time at the company is officially over. You're fired." But for Linda, none of that mattered anymore. She ignored him. Bradley failed at every basic task, while Linda dominated the environment. From natural insect repellents to advanced shelters, every action proved who the true leader was in this new world. Bradley's desperation reached its peak. He ate insects just to avoid starvation. Completely humiliated and broken, finally he crawled to Linda, apologized for his behavior, begged her to take him back, and pleaded with her to teach him how to survive. For the first time, he fully accepted his total dependence. Linda coldly reminded him of every humiliation, every abuse of power he had inflicted on her for years. Still, she agreed to help. On one condition, she asked, "Now the roles have reversed. What can you offer me?" Confused and desperate, Bradley slowly started removing his clothes, thinking that was what she wanted. Linda immediately stopped him. She made it clear, "I don't want anything sexual. I won't repeat the old power dynamics." Without another word, she gave him food. Bradley accepted it with exaggerated, almost humiliating gratitude, showing how thoroughly the situation had broken him. After eating, Linda told him to climb a nearby mountain with her. During the climb, she taught him basic skills: navigation, endurance, breath control, correcting him with firm but patient guidance. At the top, they saw the vast ocean surrounding them on all sides. The view crushed any illusion of immediate escape. On the way down, Bradley lost his balance. In a sudden act, he saved Linda from falling off a cliff. This unexpected gesture shifted their dynamic completely. A faint trust began to form. Back at camp, they naturally started talking. Linda taught him different ways to preserve, dry, and store food. With a subtle smile, she revealed she had made homemade wine from fermented fruit. That night, as they drank the wine, emotional barriers began to fall. Linda confessed she had been married for 10 years to a man who treated her like trash, destroying her self-esteem day after day. Bradley revealed his arrogance was a shield, the result of an abusive, distant, cruel father who never showed him love. For the first time, Linda saw her boss not as a monster, but as a broken man. Bradley asked if she ever thought of leaving her husband. Linda said he died. She explained she had lived trapped in a lie for years, waiting for him to become the man she originally fell in love with. When he asked how he died, Linda revealed a chilling truth. Her husband was a violent alcoholic. She used to hide his keys to prevent accidents. But one night, after a brutal fight where he crossed irreparable boundaries, Linda reached her limit. While he searched blindly in rage for the keys, she made a cold, decisive choice. She left them on the table and poured him one last drink, letting him drive to his own death. Finally, Linda broke down. Suddenly, she said, "Maybe we should never leave this island." The statement deeply unsettled Bradley. A silent alarm went off inside him. The next day, Linda woke up alone and saw Bradley bathing on the shore. Suddenly, a tropical storm violently hit. A palm tree fell dangerously close. Linda reacted just in time and pulled Bradley to safety. They took shelter in a cave, holding each other to survive. Something changed in that moment. They started working like a real team. After the storm ended, Bradley struggled to rebuild the shelter. A gesture of gratitude. He prepared a special dinner, improvised fire, gathered herbs he barely recognized. Meanwhile, Linda decided to make herself look a little better. Fixing her hair, adjusting her clothes, perhaps feelings for Bradley were forming in her heart. But it was all a carefully planted trap. The meal Bradley prepared was poisoned. Linda suddenly collapsed. Eyes rolling back, Bradley panicked and secretly escaped on the raft he had built. But massive waves shattered the raft, throwing him into icy water. Currents mercilessly dragged him. He struggled to keep his head above water. When Linda came to, she pulled him out with pure force. She vomited the poisoned food in his face. Making it crystal clear, she knew what he had done. Even after the betrayal, the next day she still fed him. Bradley, caught between confusion and relief, didn't know what to think. He didn't realize he had just eaten octopus loaded with paralytic toxins. The toxins completely froze him. He couldn't move. Sea breeze stung his face. The sun burned his trapped skin. While he lay helpless, Linda heated a knife over the fire. She slowly pulled down his pants. In a deep voice, she said, "Now you'll feel the humiliation I felt in the office." She brought the hot metal knife near his genitals, but at the last second she pulled it away and killed a rat instead. A final warning, then she walked away. Bradley, traumatized by the terrifying reminder, spent the next few days in distress, watching Linda with fearful eyes as she hunted food on the shore with quiet, calculated steps. The scene changes. Engine noise is heard. Jury, Bradley's fiancé, arrived leading the search party. They had finally found them. But instead of relief, Linda reacted disturbingly calmly. A cold, calculating smile spread across her face. She guided Jury and her companion toward the same cliff where she had almost died days earlier. Jury slipped in the same spot and hung from the edge. Linda just watched, offering no help. Back at camp, she pretended to be sick to cover her crime, but Bradley noticed the tension in her eyes, the change in her movements. That night, Linda jolted awake to a siren sound. She saw Jury crawling on the shore, blaming her. "You tried to kill me." Then everything shattered. It was an illusion. Linda woke up drenched in sweat. The next day, while Bradley was boar hunting for survival, he stumbled upon Jury's remains. Her engagement ring still on her hand. With rage and a broken heart, he confronted Linda with the proof. The truth exploded between them. Linda tried to convince him. "I was taking Jury toward you, but she fell off the cliff by accident." Bradley, full of grief and anger, barely controlled himself. He didn't trust a word. He asked why she hadn't told him earlier. Linda said, "I know you. You wouldn't have believed me." She swore it was an accident, her voice trembling while trying to stay calm. But Bradley said, "Jury's accident was just as convenient as your husband's death." Then he showed her something. He had taken her knife. A chase began. Linda ran through dense jungle. Bradley followed. Linda ambushed him from behind. They fought like animals. Linda had gone completely mad. She swallowed Jury's ring to destroy the evidence. There wasn't a shred of remorse in her eyes. Bradley, in rage, tried to kill her, but Linda snatched the knife and stabbed him. Wounded, Bradley somehow escaped. Running, he reached a part of the island he had never explored. He saw a house. Not just any house, but a luxurious mansion hidden in the jungle. It felt surreal. Inside, he heard Linda's voice coming from speakers. She was watching him from a control room. Linda confessed she had found this house just days after the crash. Weeks ago. She was clearly enjoying revealing everything. Bradley headed toward the control room. Linda admitted she had killed Jury. Tension filled the air. Then she appeared in front of him, holding a shotgun pointed at him. Bradley quickly changed tactics. He begged for forgiveness, said he would stay on the island with her forever, even claimed he loved her. Anything to save his life. But the trick failed. Linda spotted the makeshift weapon he hid behind his back. In the final fight, Bradley managed to disarm her shotgun. But to his shock, it was empty. Linda overpowered him. She was extraordinarily strong. She finished him with a golf club in cold blood, showing zero regret. A few days later, Linda returned to the normal world. Now she was a celebrity. Her survival story was everywhere. She had become rich and successful. She wrote books about self-help and empowerment. Her face was on television, magazines, everywhere. After finishing an interview, she got into her new car with a parrot on her shoulder. With a controlled smile, she drove down the highway, feeling total victory. She had left all the terrifying memories of that island far behind. Now she was a symbol of strength and ambition. And that's where our story ends today. If you love this mystery, hit that like button, subscribe to Mystery Vault, and turn on notifications for more movie mysteries. See you in the next one.